Hello, everybody. It is April 28th, 2022. The Ask Me Anything happens again, happens every Thursday. All of you wonderful people in the Linchpin community, specifically in the private Facebook group, submit questions, other members upvote them, and the most popular ones get answered live each week. So, that actually just popped into my head, and I don't know why I haven't done this before. Love or hate Facebook, and there's probably more reasons to hate it than to love it. I'm right there with you. But our private group is a massive reason to love it. It's phenomenal. You probably think that I'm overselling it. I'm not. It's incredible. It's better than I'm saying. And that's where you get to submit your question and have it upvoted. So I know there's a lot of people that follow Linchpin that aren't on Facebook. This might be a good reason, if you're a member of the private track, create an anonymous Facebook account, send a request to join. You'll have to give them your email address and your real name. We'll verify you, get you in, and then we're in. We're doing great things. So let's kick it off today. All right. The number one most upvoted question, very upvoted, was from Levi A. Levi says, I find high volume body weight movements to be difficult. Jumping jacks, burpees, air squats. I've been using the Neo, which is the no equipment option that we give every day. I've been using the Neo option while recovering from an injury, and it seems like high volume is common for these movements. Granted, it's only been a couple of days. You often recommend sprinkling in the limited equipment option, which is dumbbell workouts, to get dumbbells work in because of the variance benefits. Do you think sprinkling in the no equipment option is also good, or will not touching a barbell for a long time handicap my fitness in any way? Fantastic question. And obviously everybody else thought so as well because it's uploaded. So here we go. So there's a couple questions in there, so we'll just dissect them. So in the no equipment option that we give every day, just body weight at home stuff, yes, the body weight movements that you're going to see are usually going to be high volume, just by the nature of what you need to do to elicit a little bit of a stimulus, right? If you're going to do 3 front squats at 225 pounds, the fact that you have that external loading on your body, there's a lot of bang for your buck in doing just 3 repetitions. However, we take the loading off, you do 3 air squats. While air squats are wonderful, 3 air squats for most people really isn't going to move the needle. And I know that's an extreme example, but that's why generally when we have no loading whatsoever, you're going to see the repetitions increase. You're going to see the volume increase. You're going to have to do more because you don't have the benefit of external loading. So yeah, you're not going to see just a small sprinkling of air squats or a small sprinkling of burpees. There's going to be a fair number of those, to move the needle. So that's absolutely accurate. Let's see. I recommend all the time people do the limited equipment option every now and then, the dumbbell workouts, even if you have a barbell, for the beautiful variance. Do you think this should be done also with the no equipment option, or are you going to lose your fitness because you're not touching a barbell? Well, short answer is, should you sprinkle it in? Is that the word you use? Yes, sprinkling it in. Absolutely. 100% I can give you a great 100% yes on that. Sprinkling in the limited equipment option, phenomenal. Sprinkling in the no equipment option, just the bodyweight stuff, phenomenal. I think everybody should do that time to time. And I actually think everybody would be better for it. So there's the first part of that, is a yes. Second part is, if you're doing the limited equipment option, I'm going to assume that you imply now all the time, to almost the exclusion of touching a dumbbell or a barbell. Will this handicap my fitness in any way, shape, or form? The answer is, in a literal fashion, yes, it will. Just because there are so many things we need to do to have actual fitness. Okay, like true, not fitness like Merriam-Webster used to loosely define 20 years ago, before Greg Glassman came on the scene, where just fitness was being fit. Well, okay, well, he didn't really define what that meant. It's not measurable, observable, repeatable. Then Glassman defined fitness as, work capacity across broad time modal domains, something that we can actually measure. And to do that, that means you're going to have to actually be fit, right? You have to have capacity in engine work, metabolic conditioning, right? Your cardio, so to speak, in old school language. Your gymnastics capacity, not the sport of gymnastics, we're not talking about doing, parallel bars, but body weight movements. And then also weightlifting, and not the sport of weightlifting, not just the clean and jerk and the snatch. When CrossFit says weightlifting, they mean external objects, barbells, sandbags, dumbbells, kettlebells, wall balls, sleds, whatever happens to be external loading. True fitness, true well-rounded fitness, which is GPP, which is what we go for at Linchpin, is improving capacity in all of those areas, and all of those areas working together to produce this broad, general, and inclusive fitness capacity in the athlete. And so in order to do that, we've got to work all those things. And if we're not working all of those things, we are not going to optimize the fitness of the athlete. So now getting back to Levi's question in a literal manner, if you now say, I'm done touching a barbell or done touching dumbbells, done touching external loading for the rest of my life, I'm just a bodyweight person for the rest of my life, will this handicap my fitness? I have to say yes, it will, because you will be excluding so much which is profoundly beneficial. So that's my answer on that. However, I don't think you're saying you're just going to do the no equipment options for the remainder of your years on planet Earth. Sprinkling them in, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. And if we get back, if we nerd out a little bit, which is almost the pinnacle of CrossFit Linchpin, right? If we nerd out just a bit, the theoretical hierarchy of the development of an athlete, again, that Greg Glassman came up with, we had that pyramid looking deal where each skill, I guess you could say, it's not the right word I'm looking for, but each skill was layered on top of, or capacity layered on top of one another. Well, the base layer there was, of course, your nutrition, how you fed yourself. The next thing above that was metabolic conditioning to make sure your body can process oxygen properly. The next thing above that was gymnastics or body weight movement. Then we had, external objects such as weightlifting, throwing, sport, things like that. But point being, the things closer to the bottom of the pyramid are really, really important. And that ability to control your body, it's placed, as far as order of importance goes, in that theoretical model. Now I understand that it's called the theoretical hierarchy and not the factual hierarchy, because it is an individual's theory. I get that. Also, over the course of the last 17 years, that has become really well solidified in my experience that it works, and it works really well in that order. So body weight movements are of critical importance. I don't think that they get the respect that they deserve in many CrossFit circles. Not here at Linchpin. We hit the body weight stuff, we hit the engine stuff, and we hit the weightlifting stuff, and we try to give them all their due and respect, because they're all going to work together like some beautiful fitness casserole, and what you get at the end is going to be better than just the individual parts. So if you want to spend a bit of time hitting the no equipment options every now and then, I think it's going to treat you really well. And I'll tell you just anecdotally, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, whenever my family took that little trip for the boys' spring break to Arizona just to chase some sunshine and get out of Washington State here. Usually if we go on a little trip or a little family vacation, I can find somewhere to work out that has some sort of external loading, even if it's just a pair of dumbbells in the hotel gym. I can find it. It is a rare case that I can find nothing. And this trip, as much as I was trying to not be a workaholic and actually, be present with my family and not skedaddle down the road and do a drop-in at an affiliate, I worked out just at the house in the backyard every day, and they didn't have any gear there. And so I did no equipment option bodyweight stuff for 5 days in a row. And I can't tell you the last time I did just that. I don't know, it's been a really, really long time. Now, I don't plan on doing that for the rest of my life. It was just 1 week. But I'll tell you what, and maybe this is just me, I felt really good. And I don't know what it did or didn't do to move my fitness in one direction or another direction, because it was just 1 week of my life and all that stuff. But my body felt really good just doing body weight stuff for one solid week. And then actually the next week or the week after, it came back and had a great front squat session in the garage. So I didn't obviously lose anything in 1 week. And I'm not speaking for you, Levi, but you get to pry a barbell out of a CrossFitter's hand. I mean, they just love the barbell, and with good reason. It's fantastic. You tell everybody you're having a deadlift or a back squat party at your garage, you'll have a line out the door. You won't have any parking. You tell everyone to, meet you for a slew of burpees or a slew of L-sits, or meet me down at the track, we're going to do 6 400-meter repeats. You're not going to have anywhere near as many people show up for those endeavors, right? Which, that in and of itself tells you people tend to avoid stuff that has some spice to it. That the body weight stuff, it doesn't get its recognition, it doesn't get its due. It has way more value than a lot of us give it credit for. So yes, I think if you're going to dabble your foot in those waters every now and then, I think you'll be very happy for it. I think it'll treat you great. So that is that. All right, next question. Chris R. Next most upvoted question. Chris, where are you, sir? Here we go. A question came up in the group a few weeks ago about running during farmers' carries. It seems some of the benefit of farmers' carries is time under tension, not just moving the weight a certain distance as fast as possible. So are we missing the intended stimulus if we run? Interesting question. So, first of all, there's a couple of facets to this question. If you're executing, maybe here's the quick way to start. If you're executing, what's the point of a farmer's carry, right? The point of a farmer's carry is to move some objects from point A to point B, and largely they're going to go ahead and tax your grip. You'll most likely feel it in your traps and shoulders as well, but they're going to largely tax your grip. And the interesting thing about them, even just walking them, which most people do, farmers' carries are usually done as a walk, there's an interesting little spike in the old heart rate, even though you're just walking, but you now have some external load on your body, and having some dumbbells in each hand or kettlebells in each hand, it forces you, even if you're not conscious about it, to brace your midline. And that bracing of the midline doesn't allow you just be breathing as much as you regularly would, and so it spikes the breathing just a little bit. There's a little bit of a subtle metabolic hit in there as well. Now, I guess the question is, are you missing an intended stimulus? I mean, I do see your point, and I do largely agree with your point that time under tension with the dumbbells is a good thing. But I almost feel like this isn't an issue for most people. And as always, I'm completely open to the fact that I could be dead wrong on this. Because here's what's interesting, especially in a multi-round workout, is because there is that interesting metabolic hit, because you do have to brace your midline, and because moving the dumbbells in a smooth fashion is less jarring to the grip than if you were running with them or jogging with them and jostling that grip around. Well, now it's going to require almost like more grip strength to hold them, because as you're bouncing around with them slightly, they're going to want to pry out of your hand a bit. So you're almost increasing the challenge of gripping the dumbbell if you start jogging, but you're shortening the time domain a little bit by jogging. So does one even the other out? I don't know. I'm not sure. And I think for most people, I've tried to jog with the dumbbells. Let's be honest, we're all friends here. And maybe this is just me, but it's almost a zero-sum game. I feel like if I start to jog with the dumbbells, I jog for like the first 10 meters, and then I'm like, well, this is not going well. This is terrible, because that heart rate starts to go up even more than just when I walk the dumbbells. when that heart rate starts to go back up, there's suddenly a greater demand in one area of your body for oxygen and oxygenated blood than there is in another, potentially the muscles and the knee, the grip for those dumbbells. And so it almost seems like it makes gripping them harder, and I'd have to put them down more frequently, but I could pick them up and jog with them. I don't know if one is more efficient than the other, slow, steady pace, or shuffle and trying to get it done quicker, but it's now more taxing on the grip in the lungs. I'll tell you this, I'm perfectly okay with either way happening. If you can pull off a shuffle in a workout, and it's, the number one thing should be obviously you should be safe. Again, hopefully that goes without saying, but if you are capable, competent, and it's well within your ability and skill set to safely shuffle your feet and do some sort of a little jog with those dumbbells, geez, good on you. Fantastic. My hat's off to you. I don't see any issue with that in any way, shape, or form. I don't think that's going to treat most people well, at least moving the prescribed weight on most farmers' carries. And it's probably not exactly the same as what you're asking in your question, Chris, but it made a couple of things pop into my head, which is true. You're like, well, if time under tension, gripping those dumbbells is a key element, then if somebody's shuffling with them, it's less time under tension, and isn't that not good? Wouldn't we want the more time under tension? Yeah, to a degree, but if we play that game with other movements, the theory disintegrates a little bit. And I don't know if just because the theory disintegrates when we look at it under other movements, if that is or isn't meaningful for the farmer's carry explanation. I'm not sure, it's just how my brain works. But if all that mattered in the world was time under tension, well then every deadlift we do shouldn't be a touch and go rep. It should be 7 seconds on the up, 7-second pause at the top, 7 seconds on the down. The next rep, 7 seconds on the up, 7 seconds on a pause at the top, 7 seconds on the down. And that would get us more time under tension for the same reps. But that's not true. That doesn't carry over as to how you should always do movements. That's inaccurate. And so that's why when I think about it a little bit, if somebody can shuffle on the farmer's carry, I'm okay with them shuffling on the farmer's carry. And if we also think about, again, how my brain works, going down a rabbit hole, farmers' carries are just moving an object from point A to point B. There could certainly be utility in real life being able to move an object from point A to point B quicker. Really, it could be harder, right? Doing it quicker, like it's the same work in a shorter period of time is usually more taxing, right? If you're going to do a mile run, doing it in 12 minutes is generally considered easier than doing it in 6 minutes. If you're going to do Fran, which is just a set amount of work, doing it in 3 minutes is generally considered more harder than doing it in 15 minutes. And so we might be able to carry that right over to the farmer's carry and say, if you've got to do a 100-meter carry, maybe it is even more challenging to try to accomplish that work as quick as possible. And if you can shuffle, then you could be okay. And when I think of a farmer's carry, it's not exactly how you do a buddy carry, but like, in the military, first responder, things of that nature, we did a lot of buddy carries for down man drills and things like that. And you're just, it's a human being with gear on in that scenario, but you're moving an external object from point A to point B, carrying it, again, not by your side, so I know it's not exactly the same. But I'm here to tell you that in real life situations, it's advantageous to get that human being anyway, at least in a down man drill, from point A to point B fast as possible. So I'd be looking to minimize time under tension in a real life application. And so with all these different things popping through my head, again, the key element being execute the movement safely, but if you have the ability to move at a faster pace than another athlete with a farmer's carry, I think you're okay. I think you're gonna be okay. Cool question. I'm also totally open to the fact that that's just my opinion, right? I mean, some of these things, there's not like a hardcore rule on them, right? We're just doing farmer's carries. I'm curious to hear what other people think as well. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comments. Okay, third most upvoted question from Ashley S. Ashley, where are you? Here we are. Okay. From Ashley. How do you pick the quote unquote sweet spot when scaling? Already a phenomenal question. We all know that scaling is cool, and I scale often. How do you pick how much to scale so that you still get the intended stimulus and don't sandbag and make it way too easy for yourself? Or is fitness achieved either way? Cool question. Okay, let's take it step by step here. So finding the sweet spot. The sweet spot is interesting because while we all know what Ashley's talking about, it's challenging to perfectly define and contain that phrase. But we all know it when we hit it. So we're all chasing the sweet spot when scaling. She basically wants to make sure that she doesn't scale it too much, quote unquote, making the workout too easy, and then you feel like you sandbagged it and get a good stimulus. So I guess I'll answer your last question first. Or is fitness achieved either way? Truth is, yeah, fitness is achieved either way, right? You're moving your body, moving external objects. Maybe those external objects were a bit lighter than they should have been because maybe you did scale it a bit too much. Okay, if that's possible, let's say that. Maybe you cut the pull-up reps in half, and so maybe it would have been like perfectly ideal to do like a little bit more reps on the pull-ups, but you still did pull-ups. That's phenomenal. Heart rate got jacked up. So like, was fitness still achieved even if you scaled it too much? Yeah, fitness was achieved even if you scaled it too much. I had something else I was going to say, and my brain's been distracted. Here's what I think is interesting. Whether it's Ashley or somebody else, okay, you have to learn what works for you for scaling. And there's not one magic recipe. And even though I provide a scaled option of the workout every day, which I put a lot of time and thought into, and it's a great option, it might not be perfect for you because even if you had 10 athletes standing in front of you, various ages, various skill levels, various preferences, various strengths and weaknesses, some of them, their deficiency might be with external loading, with weights, with barbells, and so that's what they need to scale regularly. Others struggle with body weight movements. That's what they need to scale. Others, it's the engine work. An 800-meter run is too much. We have to scale that back to a 400 or a 600. Others maybe are great with lower complexity level of gymnastics movements, but not the more advanced ones. Pull-ups, great. Chest-to-bar pull-ups, great. Ring dips, great. Muscle-ups, no. Some have single unders, but not double unders. And so point being, even with just 10 people, providing a scaled option and saying, okay, you can't do DT, or you can't do Cindy, you can't do whatever, here's the scaled option. That might work like a champ for 4 out of the 10 people, and the other 6 might be like, I'm not sure if that's enough, or it might be scaled too much. And so understanding the general concepts of scaling, understanding intended stimulus, understanding whether a workout is supposed to be a shorter time domain, higher intensity workout, where ideally the movements don't interfere with each other too much. There's not a lot of intentional interference like Fran, and the athlete can keep up a pace without a bunch of big breaks. Is it a longer workout at a lower intensity? Something like, Cindy. I know that Cindy feels plenty intense, but when we're talking about extending a time domain out to 20 minutes, that is a lower intensity workout, lower volume per round, keep the athlete moving. Is it something like DT, which is more of a heavy-based barbell thing, when most certainly it's going to be broken up, but that's okay. Like, understanding what's going on that day, understanding where you are in your fitness journey, where your strengths and weaknesses are, and then modifying that workout to ideally meet you where you are, that's a good thing. So let's take a DT example. If you get DT, and I haven't looked up DT in a while, it just popped into my head, but let's say that the super fitness robot time on DT is like, 7 minutes or less, okay? And the more likely time on DT is 12 to 14 minutes, something like that, or anywhere below there. Well, if you're scaling, most people in the world aren't super fitness robots no matter what, so don't worry about the super fitness robot time. you're going to take a look at that workout and try to figure out if the loading and the rep range and whatnot, are you going to be able to execute this workout and maybe have it take you in that 10 to 12 minute kind of a range? If so, fantastic. What if this is your first time scaling? Even if you have this information about what DT should be, obviously there's no need to do anything unbroken. You learn that what a lot of people like to do is, DT is 5 rounds per time of 12 deadlifts, 9 hang power cleans, 6 push jerks. And you learn that, okay, a lot of people like to do 11 of the first 12 deadlifts, then they drop the barbell, take a little break, they pick it up, they execute that 12th deadlift of a round. Now they have the barbell in the hang. They'll do, if possible, those hang power cleans bury me, so I don't do this. They'll do 8 of the hang power cleans, even though there's 9. They'll drop it, take a little breather, pick up the barbell from the hang, do a hang power clean. Now they've completed the 9th hang power clean. Now it's in the front rack position. I'm going to try to get the 6 jerks, right? So I didn't pick up that barbell till I thought I could get the 6 jerks. I drop the barbell, and then I just try to repeat this again until, of course, the plan goes haywire and you break it up a lot more. But point being, you get all this information in your head about the workout, about the time domain, about what it's supposed to feel like, about what we're doing here. You analyze yourself, and then you say, okay, well, Ashley says, I know that DT is 105 pounds, generally prescribed for the women. That doesn't seem appropriate. Maybe, maybe the scaled weight is 75 pounds. And she goes, 30 pounds less. I think that's too little. I think I'm going to smash the Super Fitness robot time with that. So that's probably not right. I'm going to go 85 pounds on this and just see how it feels. And, she executes at 85 pounds. And let's say at 85 pounds, it takes her 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Great, win, high five, nailed it. Okay, that was a great scaling day. But what if the opposite happens? She executes it at, 85 pounds, and she does it in 6 minutes, and she's like, whoa, okay, I scaled it too much. Okay, so now we're getting back to your question. You scaled it too much. Was fitness still achieved? I guarantee that if you put a loading on the bar that allowed you to just move at a ferocious but yet safe pace, again, like the devil is chasing you, and you executed DT in 6.5 minutes, there would be no question that you get in a very challenging workout. No question about it at all. So yeah, fitness was still achieved. And walking away from that workout and using the notes section on BTWB, you would just annotate what happened and be like, next time I shouldn't use 85 pounds. I'm going to bump it up to 95 pounds. Great. It could be just that simple, good to go, and see how it goes next time. Then she's creeping her way up. The opposite could have occurred, right? Maybe she chose some other loading and DT took her 23 minutes and was just crazy. Stayed safe, but had to take massive, huge breaks between ever touching the barbell again, and is just, quite off of even the more likely time. Well, yeah, again, I'm glad you stayed safe the whole time, but you had to take these huge breaks, which killed your intensity. Got it. Was fitness still achieved? In a different way, it was, because obviously there was a challenging object on the ground that you did a bunch of deadlifts with, you did a bunch of hang power cleans with, and you did a bunch of shoulder overheads with. Yep, it took you longer. Yep, due to the big breaks that you had to take, the intensity was down a little bit. Was it ideal, what we needed that day? No, because, that's why we chose it that day based upon what we did the day before, the next day, and what we're doing the next, the day coming. You're like, that's one moment in time. That's okay. And here's the other part. You're just going to make those notes again in BTWB. Made a terrible decision with the loading. This is what I used. Next time I'm going to reduce it to this, etc., etc. Because here's the point. Whether it's scaling or darn near anything else that human beings have to learn, scaling is just something that you have to learn. There is no learning without mistakes. Period, end of story. Whether you're learning to scale, learning to program, learning to coach, learning to drive a car, learning a second language, I don't care what it is, none of us learned how to do anything without for a while kind of being bad at it and kind of messing it up and kind of making mistakes. And then through that iterative process, we learn, we get better, we get better. That's the way human beings learn everything. And strength and conditioning, it's not any different. It's just another thing that human beings learn. Now the goal is to keep yourself safe during that learning. But if you think you're going to learn anything in strength and conditioning without making mistakes, it's just not going to happen. So you have to kind of allow yourself that learning process and give yourself the grace and understanding that you may not scale perfectly for a while, but every time you scale, you'll be scaling a different workout, right? Is it a couplet? Is it a triplet? Is it a chipper? Is it whatever it happens to be? You'll get all this great experience. You'll be learning about yourself, and every time you scale, you'll become better and better and better and better at scaling. And along the way, fitness will still be achieved. So, good question. Okay, let's do some linchpin shoutouts, okay? The first one I have here, picked at random this morning. I haven't looked at it until right now. Yes, the Linchpin Scholarship Fund. Ashley, see you. No, she said, thank you, my pleasure. So Amy B heads up the Linchpin Scholarship Fund. Amy B is obviously an angel from heaven, just doing this out of the kindness of her heart. And the Linchpin Scholarship Fund, again, just another amazing thing about the Linchpin community that boggles my mind, that wasn't my idea, that was just all of you awesome people's ideas. You know, if members fall on hard times financially or whatnot, other members just rally to their side and like basically provide them a scholarship membership for a while until they get back on their feet. It's incredible. It's incredible. Again, I could go on a rant. I pour my heart and soul into trying to make Linchpin the best programming on the face of the planet. And if I didn't think that it was, I wouldn't put it out there. But it's so much more than that because of all of you, not because of me, because of all of you make it a true community. And that is a superpower and a secret weapon that, again, unless you're in it and experiencing it, you probably think that I'm exaggerating. But I'm not. We've got some astonishing people in this community. And here's an example. This got posted in the BTWB Squads feature on the app, the Linchpin Squads, where we had a member, who I don't know if they want their name mentioned, but they are living over in Russia, which obviously there's a war going on at the time being between Russia and Ukraine. And this is just a regular Russian citizen. Sure, they didn't have a say as to whether or not they wanted to go to war with Ukraine. They just woke up one morning and realized that their country was doing something. They're just a member across at Linchpin over there. And when all this crazy stuff happened, this poor person, payments got cut off, credit cards cut off, banking got cut off, just a regular person trying to live their life. And so their, payment couldn't get processed, and so they're going to lose their Linchpin subscription and lose access to this community and all this stuff. And they posted this little goodbye in the BTWB Squads app, like the sorrowful goodbye. And it's like, this terrible thing's happening. And whenever in the future this, obviously this terrible tragedy is over, and, even us as Russian citizens get to have our own kind of freedoms back again of controlling our own finances maybe, and banking and credit cards. I can't wait to come back. And multiple members that have, never met this person in real life, just interacted with them through our, social media channels and our private groups, just came to their defense, and they all exchanged information and hit us up and funded this individual's subscription for the next 6 months, hoping that it's all over by then. How amazing is that? I mean, talk about actual, just reigniting my belief in the human spirit again, and human, just kindness. It was fantastic. So that was super awesome. Next one I have here is, I entitled it Wonderful Perspective. Not quite sure what it is. Haven't read it yet today. Hope it is a wonderful perspective. So this is from Sean T, and this is about a workout that we've done several times, 15-12-9 of clean and jerks and chest to bar pull-ups. And clean and jerks at 135 for the gentleman. Awesome couplet. And so Sean says that he did this workout in 7 minutes and 51 seconds last time it came up. Today, he did it in, once again, exactly 7 minutes and 51 seconds again. He said, in the past, this would have upset me to no end. Now I look at it so differently. I matched my time from 5 months ago, but I slept 3 hours last night, and now I have twins alongside my toddler son. So I will take this as a huge win. Thanks, coach. That makes me so happy. That shift in mindset. And we actually talked about this a bit, I think, on Tuesday's Instagram Live. Like, this could also fall under like training versus testing. So the fact that Sean matched his time that he did 5 months ago, which based upon his post 5 months ago, looks like he had a toddler son, but did not have a set of twins. Now this workout comes up again. He's got not only a toddler son, but a set of twins in the house. Who knows how old they are, how long they've been there. He only slept 3 hours the night before and matched his time from before. That's amazing. That's a huge win, and I'm glad that he took it as a win. So absolutely love that perspective. And that's the sort of perspective that will serve you well long term, and you'll be still doing this stuff years later. Okay, so this is the follow-up to that first post I said about the scholarship fund. This is the response from our Russian member, Oksana. I won't say their last name, that posted. So they tagged the two individuals, Ryan and Clint, that helped her out with the membership. Said, I can't describe enough how grateful I am. I just got an email from Pat telling me that my subscription had been granted by the Linchpin community. And this is so touching. I never expected this to happen. And to be honest, I could never even ask for anything like this. It brings me feelings of a real CrossFit community, the stuff that we read about, accepting, inclusive, and friendly, no matter what. So just thank you to all of you in the Linchpin community, and we'll see you on the whiteboard. Absolutely phenomenal and awesome. So that is that. And once again, as I've been saying recently, please, because selfishly I love seeing them, continue to send in your garage gym tour videos, or basement gym, or barn gym, or apartment gym, or fire department gym, or military base gym, wherever it is. If you're a member of the Linchpin community, the private track that you hit the workouts, film it, upload it to YouTube, email me the link to info, at CrossFitLinchpin.com, and I will put that on the CrossFit Linchpin YouTube channel. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's a playlist entitled Garage Gym Tours, and they're awesome. I've watched every one. They're super cool. And other than that, enjoy your rest day, everybody. Keep being awesome. Keep treating one another with kindness, and we'll help each other out on our long-term fitness journey. And we'll talk soon.